Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Ross, too, for putting on this conference. I guess he's left. So, yeah, I'm Howard. I've been with Resource Data for almost 20 years now, believe it or not, although since I graduated from UAF in 1955, according to Grant, you might not find that quite as surprising. It was actually 1995. So we're a software development company, and you might be asking yourself at this point, what is a dude from a software development company doing up here in front of you talking about during the resource development track? Well, I'm going to show you how using Alaska's most important resource Data has grown to become the largest software development company in the state, and the role that the traditional resource development industry has played in that growth. So first, a brief history of Resource Data. So we started off back in the mid-'80s. It was a couple geologists with PhDs that knew a thing or two about databases, Daryl Schirkenbach and Kimball Forrest. And so they built tools primarily for the mining industry to help them with their business, thus the Resource Data in Resource Data. And then over the years, we diversified and worked with oil and gas, and we also began working with local government and then utilities, such that today we're happy to have almost all the major utilities in Alaska as clients of ours. And then in the 2000s, more recent history, we became a major IT contractor with the state of Alaska, and we built dozens of systems, some of near and dear to your heart, including we worked on the permanent fund dividend system, so when we all get that big check in October, sometimes it's big, that's partly due to some work we've done. Then more recently, we just completed our largest state of Alaska project ever, which is $8.5 million to completely redo the enterprise system for the DMV. So that's the system that they use to do all their business, including issuing driver's licenses and car registrations and the rest of what they do. So, so what is Alaska's most important resource? Well, we kind of have a theme going this morning, so I guess I'll just say that Resource Data is in agreement with some of the previous speakers. So Alaska's greatest resource the oil and gas industry? Is it the mining industry? Is it fisheries? Those are all very important industries, and they're going to play an important part in the future of my company and also in the future of Alaska for many decades to come. But I think we agree that the most important resource is us. It's the people in this room, the people outside this room, and future generations of Alaskans. And that's what's going to drive our future. So our tagline is People, Technology, Results. We feel technology is a means to an end, and the results are a tangible improvement in the way that your business operates. But we also agree that it all starts with the people. So now I'm going to show you through the way that we treat three distinct groups of people and how that has led to our success over the last several decades. Okay, so this slide could just be titled, treat people well, basically, no matter who they are. And so with your clients, right, they're on paper in the contract, it's got some company name or some state agency name, and that's supposedly your client. But really, your client is people, right? It's the decision makers that decided to hire you. And so it's important, and this is kind of obvious, but I think it bears repeating, especially in this age when honesty seems to be under attack. Always be as 100% honest and open as possible. The closer you can get to that ideal, the more trust you're going to build. So if there's some problem with the project, don't try to shovel it under the rug or whatever. Bring it forward as soon as possible. It's through this kind of open and honest communication that you develop trust. And when you're a professional services company like Resource Data, and a lot of your business comes from repeat business with existing clients like ours does, it's that trust that's built over the years that's going to lead to the continued success of your company. It's similar really with employees, right? So treat your employees and your colleagues fairly and honestly. Be generous, as generous as you can. At Resource Data, after 6 years, you get 5 weeks vacation, which is pretty good for the private sector, I think. And also we support work-life balance and flexible schedules and flexible work locations. The alumni, this is what we call past Resource Data employees. And so we've been around for a while, and so we have about 500 alumni, as we call them. And you always hate to lose good people, but if you have a good company, like most of you probably do, it's usually not because you're a company that they're leaving. It's something idiosyncratic about that person, something unique. Their wife or husband doesn't like the weather in Alaska, or they want to change a career or what have you. The key here is maintaining that relationship and making sure you treat them fairly while they're employed with you, and also upon separation, because that can be a key source of business. People are going to want to work, all things being equal, with others that they have a previous experience of trust and fairness with. And at Resource Data, even this people-centered philosophy that we have even pervades our DNA, as it were. So the very way that our company is structured supports that philosophy. So a long time ago, we decided we wanted to have a company that the ownership structure was such that the majority of the shares in the company was held by active employees that were contributing key value to the company. And so we set up a 100% employee-owned S corporation, and this includes a pretty generous share price to encourage younger key staff to buy into the company, and then build shares over time and continue to get more invested in the success of the long-term success of the company. And so that's worked well for our company. And on the flip side, when you go to retire, we have a model for that as well, because sometimes when you have a tightly held private company and a key owner leaves, it can be kind of a messy business. So we sort of have a pre-agreement that all the shareholders have agreed to, such that there's a more orderly transition of ownership at that phase in the individual owner's career, which manages cash flow on both sides, but more importantly, I think, manages the relationship to keep it positive after the separation. And so I'm an owner of Resource Data, so I bought in 15 years ago with a modest investment and continued to invest, and have since become a major key shareholder. And so the model's worked really well for us, and we would challenge some of you, if you have companies, to consider this model. I know there's other S corps out there, but it seems to us like it could be more prevalent and employed successfully in other industries, not just IT like we work in. So this is Berry Pass. Anyone been there? This is near my house in Girdwood, and I took this photo a few months ago. This slide is to remind us that we have here in Alaska, this has also been touched on, a few other people-centered advantages. So we have a huge, excellent quality of life because of the beauty of the place, all the things there are to do in summer and winter, and this is important because we can use that. We can continue to use that to attract people from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, because that's going to lead to help contribute to our long-term success. Also, the educational institutions. You heard from Ella with ARE. We have some fine educational institutions here in Anchorage and in Alaska that you should fully take advantage of. I'm a product of the Anchorage School District. I'm sure some of you are. My kids right now that were mentioned earlier are sitting in South High in math class or something. And also the University of Alaska is excellent. We've hired, I looked it up in the database on Monday, so we've hired 113 professionals from the University of Alaska over the years. Now we have almost a couple hundred people. And so I think if you can, I encourage you to take advantage of the excellent educational institutions we have here, as well as continue to promote the quality of life that we enjoy, because that'll help bring people to the state. And just in closing here, so what is the future of the economy in Alaska? What is the future of resource development? I think it's quite bright. We have not only this really sound base of the traditional resource development, the oil and gas, the mining, fisheries, etc., but we also have Alaska's greatest resource. And I would encourage you to, maybe with some of these ideas or other ideas, figure out how to fully leverage that in your business, because that if you're successful in that will contribute to the success of your company, and also it'll help ensure the success of the Alaskan economy and our prosperity for many, many years to come. Thank you.